I don't know about you, but when I have news to share on a specific date, then the day comes and I tell people, oh, I'll get to it later. It's usually not good news. Last week, Ubisoft released a statement announcing that they would be holding the big reveal of their financial report for the first half of the current fiscal year, which for Ubisoft ends in March. Basically, their report card of how they've done sales-wise from April 1st to roughly October of 2025 got pushed back the day that they were supposed to announce how they did, which spurred some concern, and rightfully so, because Ubisoft has been in a precarious situation this generation where they haven't quite been able to win. Now, I don't want this to be an excuse for people to dogpile on Ubisoft, because I enjoy a lot of Ubisoft games, and quite honestly, during the PlayStation 4 generation, they had a hell of a run, but when the PlayStation 5 hit, things changed. Now, seeing this story again is concerning, because for a long time, people have questioned how much of a future Ubisoft still has, consolidating down to just the core franchises of Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six makes sense, and then you wonder what all these other employees are going to be doing at Ubisoft. Like, there's good people at Ubisoft making solid games. The thing that has driven me a bit insane with this Ubisoft news, and what feels like the herald of their end these past couple of days, is seeing the success story that nobody predicted this year, Arc Raiders, grow and reach historic amounts of success within a genre that's largely untapped in a way that I feel Ubisoft probably could have and should have been able to do. I'm sure you've seen this brought up, especially close to Arc Raiders' launch. I'm thinking a lot about The Division lately, and The Division 3. Now, I understand the comparisons to The Division may only be surface level, kind of post-apocalyptic look, very tactical, militaristic gear that you're looting, scavenging in a world where humans have abandoned a lot of their metropolitan areas. Like, if it stops and ends there, sure. But I know it doesn't, because The Division 2 did have an extraction-like experience with the Dark Zone. Now, this was not the priority of The Division 2. The Division 2 is absolutely in line of a Destiny, a Diablo traditional PvE looter experience where you can meet up with friends and play dungeons, raids, etc. to get better gear and progress in this RPG shared world. Compared to Arc Raiders, where a lot of that stuff you're still doing, but it is the PvPvE element, where players can help you or hurt you, adding this ability to have spur-of-the-moment stories that develop between players and, clippable moments. So it's different. I understand it is different from The Division, but they're similar. They're more similar than they are different. And Division 2 having the Dark Zone, which does bring in this sectioned off area of the map where players do fight each other over loot, having a PvPvE extraction shooter-like experience was something that was very interesting about The Division. And in a late 20-teens window of release, that was a novel thing to have on console. So the idea that a consoleized version of this experience is now seeing unprecedented success with Arc Raiders. Where has The Division 3 been? We are overdue on a third Division game. Now, this may be too much in the fantasy game dev realm, but I do see a very realistic world where, much like many other teams, Bungie with Marathon, Haven with Fair Games, and Embark with Arc Raiders, there is a clear trend of somebody saying, we gotta figure out how to make the extraction shooter work on console. I see a world where The Division 3 puts a lot more emphasis on that extraction Dark Zone experience to differentiate itself from 2 and fill a market on console that has largely been untapped, but here we are, Arc Raiders did it. Now sure, there's plenty of variables here. Would Ubisoft be able to make the experience as enjoyable, as engaging as a team like Embark, where we see somebody like Bungie, a storied team with tons of veterans struggling to make their extraction shooter marathon something that players actually want to play, getting delay after delay? There is that nebulous unknown, but in a world where we are lacking a good Destiny 2 experience, where we are seeing Borderlands 4 kind of come and go, and we are desperately in need for a traditional looter experience, a Division 3 which delivers that the way 2 did, and also experiments with this extraction experience to make it engaging and addictive to console players, seems like the win Ubisoft has needed for years now. And what is wild to me is the Division 3 has been announced. If you forgot, it was announced, I believe, during a financial report with a little text black box on a big sheet of a bunch of numbers and words saying, hey, yeah, we're making Division 3. Today, the only evidence that the Division 3 exists is this page on Ubisoft's website. They could have used this game this year, because the current strategy that Ubisoft has been engaging with this generation, or at least these last couple of years, has largely been focused on Assassin's Creed, which, you know, that's always the case, and licensed games, which, like, yeah, I like Frontiers of Pandora a good bit, okay? And I'm excited to see this big overhaul they're doing with third-person mode and the new expansion. But it is puzzling to me that Massive, the team who makes the Division games, have had their talents split between, we kind of promise we're doing Division stuff, we're still kind of supporting Division 2, which is just a world of its own to try and jump into at this point or return to. And then we have an Avatar game that seemed like it kind of underperformed, and a Star Wars game which launched poorly, but people I trust who have played it since launch really enjoy it and really think it's a great Star Wars experience, regardless still kind of underperformed. On top of all of that, the Assassin's Creed game we have now is kind of the break in case of emergency we're finally doing Japan, and it seems to have done well. I'm like 30 hours in. I picked it up recently as a huge fan of the old Assassin's Creed games, and I've been loving it. But it's clear that whatever Ubisoft has been doing has not been working. Now again, I'm not here to say that the Division 3 would have fixed all of their problems or would have been as good, fun, or as viral a success as something like an Arc Raiders, especially coming in at, assumedly, a full price release in 2025 compared to the $40 launch price of Arc Raiders. But more than anything, whenever it is that Ubisoft does share this news, whenever they get around to talking about what caused them to delay it, whether that be an acquisition, a splitting of the teams into different companies, if it's more layoffs, I just hope we get to see a Ubisoft that is able to return to some form of its prior success. Because the teams deserve it, the games deserve it, and superficially, I just want to play a third Division game. So how do you feel about the current state of Ubisoft? Are you concerned at all that they are pushing back the report of their financials for the first half of this fiscal year? Are you playing Arc Raiders? Does it scratch the itch of the looter shooter that plenty of you love? I love. I have hundreds of hours in Destiny and Destiny 2 and the Division 2, and I'm kind of missing that experience right now. So maybe extraction shooters are the future of where I can get that, at least in the short term, because Lord knows between Arc Raiders and Marathon, that's going to be a big priority for multiplayer gaming in the future. Let us know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. For future episodes of Rantable, be sure to stay tuned to here and GameRant.com.